Welcome to another episode of the Next Chapter Podcast. I'm super excited to introduce you to today's guest, Emily Fields. We are here because we grew up together. We both went to North Farmington High School, which seems like ages ago. And because of social media, Emily and I have been able to stay connected. And I recently saw that Emily had a post and she had said that she was kind of changing direction. So I reached out to Emily and said that this would be a fabulous story to be able to share with everyone. So here we are. Welcome, Emily, to the Next Chapter Podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to answer some great questions and share all I can to empower other women.
Well, I appreciate it. And welcome to the Next Chapter community. So before we really get started and talk about where your journey began, I thought it would be kind of fun to share maybe a little fun fact about you that others may or may not know. Besides the fact that this is a public shout out to our friend Erica Tobias, or Erica Ruskin now, I should say.
Right.
But besides that, what would you kind of like to share?
Wow, a fun fact. I don't know. I guess I would say, I don't know if it's so much fun but it's definitely shaped who I am. And I definitely attribute a lot of my growth to, the travels that I've been able to take part in throughout my journey, whether it was in Israel or throughout Europe or in Asia or most recently in India.
Wow.
I always try to tell my students that, the sooner you can go travel abroad and the more continuously you can have those experiences, the more you'll realize just how small you are in this, this larger, beautiful community of people that we have in this world. So that's a big part of who I am. And I'm not sure if you knew that about me, but
I didn't.
traveling in and out of the country from age 16, where I actually was with Erica Tobias, up until, most recently a few years ago, India. So definitely something I'm excited to get back into in this second part of my life.
Well, I appreciate that because I did have some travel experience myself and studied abroad on several different occasions, and really do believe in the importance of seeing what's outside your immediate community and connecting with other people. I mean, obviously social media makes it very easy for people to connect and to see what's beyond their immediate community, but to actually be able to live and experience it is totally different.
Yeah, I agree.
So to kind of take us back to the beginning of your professional journey, where did it start?
Well, I went to my undergrad at Michigan State University, so we can still be friends, but we have our rival schools. And gosh, I didn't really get into what I wanted to be when I grew up until probably my second year of college. And I kind of shifted from psychology to education after realizing that I think it would have been a more natural fit. I was a camp counselor. I always babysat. I generally really enjoyed kids. I loved to write. When I was in Israel, I really started to journal a lot. I loved to write, and it seemed very fitting for me to get my degree in secondary English education.
Mm-hmm.
So was able to continue on with my master's degree at Michigan State as well, did some study abroad programs, actually got my master's living in Thailand, funny enough.
Wow.
Through a continuing ed program, and moved to Colorado shortly after. I applied for teaching jobs everywhere from Redwoods, California, probably in the middle of a forest somewhere, to Yonkers, New York, and everywhere in between. I think I probably sent out 20 resumes, and I landed my first, it was a phone call interview in Westminster, Colorado, and moved to Denver, moved to Boulder, taught at Westy High for 6 years, and then made my transition to the middle school that I've been at now for 17 years. And middle school is definitely where my heart is. So I love it. And I've been there and been growing with that school since a long time ago. I'm one of the more seasoned teachers now.
Which is crazy because you're not, we're not old. You may be a year older than me. So you have, a year on me, but I don't think that we're old. But, when you are in education, people start young and they either stay for the long haul or some leave and transition into other careers at some point. So It sounds as though you've really stayed in it for the long haul and that your heart is in it.
Yeah, I think for me, I grew up in a family where, my dad enjoyed going to work. He's an attorney, and it's funny. I probably didn't even realize he liked going to work until I was, into my career. But I remember asking him, and he was like, "Yeah, he still practices. 76 years old, still practices. Not as much. They're in Mexico for 6 weeks, as they should be right now. But I was, I think, raised to work hard, give it all I can, have a strong work ethic, and really, hopefully to find passion in a career. And I feel lucky because a lot of people, I think, might not, and that's okay. You can have work, and then you can have home. But I needed to feel like I was serving and giving and passionate in my career, and I'm thankful that I still feel that every single day.
Which is really nice that, like you mentioned, that some people can find that fulfillment outside of work, but that you are able to find that where you spend so much time during the day and give so much to it that you have that fulfillment right there where you work is really rewarding for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said you've been at your current position for a long time. What are your plans? Because I know for teachers, at some point, teachers are able to retire after they've served for a certain period of time. So is that something that you have considered?
Yes. So I think it was probably within the 2 to 3 years of the COVID craziness in education that I sat down on a Zoom call with Para, who is the retirement, the big retirement, company that oversees governmental job pensions here in Colorado. And I kind of had an idea. I think at that time I was 21, 22 years into my profession. And I kind of just wanted to see what the timeline was at. And what they do a great job of walking you through, potential, I think there's columns. So they walk you through like potential income and percentages of your highest salary that you could be getting at retirement through the end of your life. And then they do that at, this amount of years in the profession, this amount of years in the profession, this amount of years. So there's some calculating going on, and there's some big discussions and thinking going on. But honestly, I left that meeting very much like, whoa, okay, like there's not a big difference between me staying in for 5 more years and 10 more years in terms of income per month. It wouldn't have been substantial enough for me to say, at that point, 10 years, it sounds like I can do it. So I think at that point I was like, okay, like 5 years seems great. 5 years seems great. I always knew, I love my job. You can tell I love it, but I'll be 50, not even 50 by the time I'm officially retired. And
which is so young.
It is. I feel, and I work with middle schoolers. I mean, I feel young every single day. So I feel young, and I still have a lot of life to live and a lot to give. So I always kind of knew I wasn't going to be a lifelong substitute teacher. I knew that I wanted to do something different. I didn't know exactly what that was, but I knew that the calling for me was going to be, something different, like a new career. And I just, and then I kind of shelved that and was like, all right, let's just focus on like, these next few years and really enjoying it and so forth. So that's how I figured out when I could actually retire.
Which it takes a lot to actually have that conversation and to go through that exercise. That I'm sure it was kind of eye-opening, and the fact that you gained all that additional awareness that if you could stay for an extra 10 years, that it didn't necessarily mean that it was going to reward you financially.
Right. Exactly.
That wasn't something that you needed to take into consideration. And I think sometimes that people kind of shy away from gaining that clarity because they're not really sure what's going to happen. So I commend you for taking that extra step and finding out, because sometimes that can be even scary.
Sure. And I think that some people, like for me, 10 years seemed like I might be ready. Like, I don't know if I would, like, I think 5 years I'll still be, I'm not burning out. I don't want to burn out of my job ever. I want to, everybody has hard days. We have harder days, we have life things that get in the way of career things that you just push through your days. So of course there are days that are hard, but it's not because of my students, it's not because I don't love going to be able to serve them and work with them every single day. So I don't want to leave a career feeling disgruntled. I want to leave a career feeling like, what a great career. Because at that point, when I'll be ready, it will be about 27, 28 years into education.
Which is a really long time. And how beautiful to be able to step away from something and to take a new path and to start a new chapter, but feeling so proud of the one that you are able to leave.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. So now that we kind of have established where your journey began and that you are in the process of changing directions, what is this new direction that you're changing into?
Well, this is just exciting, and it gets me as jazzed up about, a job as I do when I sometimes talk about amazing days or lesson plans with my students, which I think that is the best part of this new chapter for me, because I feel inspired and I feel excited and I feel driven and I feel motivated and I feel like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So the backstory of that is, I would say about 5 months ago, we were sitting down with our financial advisors who we've known for 6 years now, and figuring out just kind of having our biannual sit down and really going through the ins and outs of what's going on financially for us. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We have 2 teenagers who play travel hockey. We live in an area code that we're very lucky to have gotten in at a good time for a great mortgage. But we live in an expensive part of a state that's growing immensely. And we're living in a time where everything costs more money than anybody has. I mean,
like the price of eggs. I mean, eggs, which used to be like an easy dinner. Okay, let's scramble some eggs. Let's make some egg salad. I mean, $6, $7, $8 for or more.
And you were only allowed to bring 2 home over here. I'm not sure what it was like there, but I'm like, okay, who are the egg cops going to arrest me if I, So as we're sitting down, the biggest thing that kept spinning through my head is, how can I make more money? A teacher's salary, or, I'm a maxed out. I took 12, I think 6 or 8 credits this past summer to max out where I'm at for my district indefinitely. So, which for me, I'm like, ooh, amazing. If you were to ask somebody who teaches on the East Coast or somebody who is in a different career path, they might say, that might make them itch a little bit, that number. But for me, I was like, this is doable-ish, but it's kind of not, to be honest. So, my wheel starts to spin, and I'm thinking like, how can I get more money? Like I've tried the tutoring thing. It's not as easy to break into that. Everybody's like $50 an hour cash. And honestly, I've been trying to do it. It's not as easy. For me, I'm just surrendering and saying, maybe that's not for me. I'm probably not going to wait tables at night or be a bartender after working all day. I have children who I'd like to put to bed at night. I like to be there for them. And I'm not a coach, so I'm not going to be coaching, volleyball or basketball at my school to make a few thousand extra dollars, a year. And quite frankly, it's not just about a few $1,000s extra a year. What can I do to really move my career? What can I do to move forward? So I actually Adam was talking to one of our advisors, and I was having a side conversation with the other one. And I turned to him, and he knows me very well. He had been working with me for 6 years. And I turned to him and I said, well, do you guys have any part-time stuff? Sounds like I would love to be able to talk to people about my situation, and how to maybe get into a better situation 20 years ago, 25 years ago, by having better financial literacy and tools versus, as you get older. He looks at me, you serious? You serious right now? And yeah, I'm serious. And he said, all right, well, let's talk. I'll come into the office tomorrow. And from there, it's just been inspiring ever since. It is, for me, an amazing program because I have education, I have trainers and mentors. It's team-based. I just spent 3.5 hours in a sales meeting, a sales training meeting on a Saturday. And it was like going to a teacher conference in the middle of a spring when you need to feel revved up again, right? So one of my friends, she texted me, hi, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just leaving a sales training. She goes, on a Saturday? And it's funny enough, she doesn't work for the company, but she works for a different company that does similar types of work. And I was like, no, it's actually good. I learned so much. And so it's really exciting to right now measure my success with my inspiration and my drive and my motivation and what I'm learning, versus, just the monetary. It's such an amazing relief to be able to have a combination of both in a career that I kind of just fell into. So I'm a financial planner, and I have, over the last 3 to 4 months, I'm licensed in selling long-term care products, life and health insurance, life products, and I have my health insurance licensing as well. So I'm teaching all day. I'm a hockey mom via night. I'm still waking up at 3:55 in the morning to get my workout in, and I'm studying and passing licensing exams, and I'm doing the work. So it's a really exciting time for me, and for me to be able to have all of this be a part of my story, to be able to talk to other people about who are in or were in the exact same boat. It feels really awesome, because this is authentic conversation about how I can help serve somebody else. It's pretty cool.
It is so admirable to hear how you are so aware of what you wanted and also the things that weren't going to work for you. So I think so many times where people kind of feel stuck is that they're not sure what they want, that they're not taking the time to have those hard conversations with themselves and to stop and really think, okay, what will work? What will give me that excitement? I mean, if people could see that huge smile on your face, and how your face is just lighting up, that you found something that is going to ignite you. And I wanted to point out, which was really interesting, is that it was from having a conversation.
Right.
That you took a flyer and you turned to the person that you were having a conversation with, and you simply asked a question.
Right.
And you said, how can I get involved? And just were open to hearing either there was going to be an opportunity or maybe not yet, but that you took a flyer. So can you speak a little bit more to that?
Oh, sure. Well, I didn't take a flyer. We don't give out flyers. We have conversations with people. But you know, I'm still teaching full time. So from 7 to 3, and if, you know, here and there on the weekends, I'm still doing my teaching job. What intrigued me about this opportunity was there are part-time and spare time, which is less than part-time, opportunities for people, because I can't do this full time. We had President's Day, we had President's Day off, and I wasn't teaching, and I spent like 6 to 7 hours working the second job, and it really like filled my time up, and I was able to talk to people and network and learn so much and have 4 meetings and appointments. And, you know, I was thinking, wow, like this could be a full-time job. Not quite yet for me. Number one, I'm the type of person that, this is it's not really trial and error, but it's just like teaching. Like, new teachers become better as they practice.
Of course.
This is a new trade for me. This is a new career. Luckily, I'm coming in with some authentic skills that I have from teaching. You know, obviously, like communication. You know, you have to have strong interpersonal skills. You have to be vulnerable to tell your story because it connects you to other people. You have to be okay with objection and rejection and understand that conversations are conversations. Things might not be for everyone. Don't take things personally. You have to not take things personally. All of those things, I think I kind of came into. I think there's something to be said about going into a secondary career as a grown woman or grown man who have had life experiences. I have balance. I'm not burning out. I can say no. So a lot of the things that I came into with, I use them on the daily in this other job. Funny enough, I had no idea. I was your easiest customer because I was already a client, right? And here I am saying, I kind of want to do what you're doing. You know, it sounds really empowering. It sounds amazing. Like it sounds like I could be successful at it. And so I love that story because it was just a natural conversation that turned into, you know, igniting some fire within me. So it's pretty cool. It's really exciting.
I like that. I think that it's important when you have your eyes and ears open and you're willing to listen and seek out different opportunities. You never know what you are going to find, and that something doesn't have to be presented to you. That if you are willing to ask questions, that you never know what you're going to find. And look, you found a path that really is fitting for you. It's exciting. It's allowing you to grow, to learn, to build with others. And I also wanted to point out, because I think what you said so beautifully is that you are bringing so many of your skills that you had from teaching into this new chapter. And I think that at times people are scared to take a a new direction or to change into a completely different industry because they feel as though they don't have the skills. But you're here to say, if you're willing to do the work and do the hard work, that you can do it and that you do have some skills that you can bring with you. So
yeah, I have some skills. I don't have a lot of the skills. I have to learn a lot of the skills. I have to learn the business, and I am learning the business. You also have to allow yourself to, you give yourself grace. Um, you have little successes where you can, and then there are setbacks, and then you have amazing trainers and mentors and teammates, and then you do the same thing. And so it's just like, I mean, you started your own business. I mean, it's starting being an entrepreneur, which is basically what I am, what you are. You are driving you are driving it. Nobody else is driving this for you. So if you want something to happen, you need to make it happen. Luckily, I'm sure, hopefully you have had some amazing resources along the way. I have amazing resources along the way that are there at any moment for me to ask a question. In fact, I'm sitting in my office space right now and called my mentor and asked him, is anybody in the office space right now? I need to, I left my school keys at school and I need to get into a quiet space. And he's like, absolutely. I don't think, let me check. Nobody's in the space. And it's a Sunday afternoon. You want to work with people who have your back and you want to learn from them as well. So, I feel really lucky to be part of a team that is really, really supportive. That's really important for me, coming from a team experience in our middle school setting. We're team based. So I work with, 4 or 5 of the same teachers for the same 140 kids. That is why I love working in a middle school that focuses on teams. This is exactly why this company fits my needs as well, because it's entirely team based. I can't do my job without relying on my teammates. I need to learn from them.
Yeah, it's important to understand what you need and what will help you be successful. And can you kind of speak to the importance, you touched on it a little bit, but the importance of really the financial independence and how that was, kind of so important to you, and what kind of advice you can give to others that are really trying to kind of have that as well, that financial independence?
Sure. Well, to be completely honest, around the same time that I had this initial conversation with, my earring back came off, with my mentor, my now mentor, there were some obstacles going on in my marriage. And so I knew that, you have voices in your head that kind of want to prepare you. I mean, not everybody does, but I did. I had voices in my head that wanted to say, hey, you might need to do this sooner than later. You are going to you have an opportunity to dig your heels into something at a time where, your marriage was dissolving. And so for me, there's a lot of other things in your head too at that time, like the fear that you spoke about, the unknown, the mom guilt, which I've read on, I've seen on some of your podcasts. These are real things. Because on a Sunday or on a Saturday, I sometimes have to skip something of my kids to make an appointment. I have to figure out carpools so I can make a meeting. I have to tell them to stir the pasta because I'm on a Zoom call. So I don't even know what your question was. I'm just, but
No, I know. I appreciate that. It was more so kind of talking about the importance of financial independence. And you really had mentioned too, I wanted to just point out that we all have the voices in our minds. It's completely normal. And some of us really just kind of try to push those voices down and don't listen. So I give you a ton of credit, and it's super admirable that you listened and that you are taking action on that, because that can be really hard when you keep trying to push it down. But the fact that you're taking action on it and trying to create this financial independence.
Well, you can either be stuck in a situation where it's not serving you, or you can try to unstick yourself one step at a time. And I think that for women, perhaps in some marriages, luckily not my own, because we never had very, I was telling you this before, we had, luckily a very 50-50 amazing partnership in terms of money, chores, time with the kids, all of that stuff. But in terms of true financial independence, how can you get unstuck in a situation where you feel like you want more, want or need more? And I think like sometimes there's something to be said about, like your relationship with money, like just because you want to make more money doesn't mean that you're a materialistic consumer who is going to need, want, spend. I've become so much more financially literate over the last 6 months than I have in my entire life.
Which is so important.
I've saved more money in the last 6 months than I've saved in my entire life. I've become smarter, more efficient, more cognizant, acutely aware, communicating with my kids, hey, no, I'm going to cook. Let's cook together. We talk about all of the things that could add up in a potential week, because it's just a Starbucks coffee, right? It's just a bottle of water because I forgot my water bottle at home. Well, remember your water bottle, it's just a drive-through after a hockey game, or your son plays soccer, lacrosse. What is
he plays soccer. My daughter plays soccer. They're on track and dance. It's anything. It's
so those things add up. And I don't think enough people in the world really think about that. They don't. If you could say, and listen, treat yourself, be gracious to servers. I'm all about that. But not all the time. Not all the time. Be smart about it. The out should be definitely less than the in. You should be making more and spending less. So I'm it feels good to be able to live that role while I'm teaching that role to others. And it's pretty amazing. I look at newer teachers, or people who are just starting their careers, have just gotten married, just have young kids, single moms, fathers who are shifting jobs because they're a single dad. And there's a lot to be said about stopping talking about what you have going on, which a lot of people are afraid of. It's the little voice in their head again. If I just ignore it, it will go away. It's not going to go away. So let's put some experts in front of you who are going to talk you through how we can help you and what your next steps are. I'm so thankful that I had that. I'm so thankful that I was able to have those conversations that got me here to understand. And I'm so excited to be able to offer that service 100% complimentary to anybody who needs it. And everybody needs it, right? So
right, for sure.
We all need financial literacy in our lives.
Everyone can, even the person that has the least amount, the most amount, everyone can always learn something new
Absolutely.
and can grow. So kind of as we're nearing the end of this conversation, I appreciate you kind of taking us on your journey with us, and how admirable it is that you are changing new directions, and it's super exciting, and that you found something that you are passionate about. What would you think is the biggest kind of takeaway that you would like the listeners to have if they are in a similar situation, that they're looking to completely change directions and start down a new path?
Well, I would say that it definitely depends on the person, but if you have good intuition, listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to your intuition, but at the same time, allow yourself to push past some of those fears. Rely on the people around you, particularly in your new career, but also your people around you in your inner circle. But really learn all you can. Leave your excuses at the door. That's what I tell my students. I love you no matter what. You not doing your homework, it doesn't affect me. It
Right.
affects your grade. That's a natural consequence. Just own it and leave your excuses at the door. Because they're going to follow you all over the place. They're always there. So what can you do? I like to squeeze every ounce out of every single day. And then I don't. And then I just want to, sit on my butt and watch Emily in Paris, and just relax. I know, so like, and it's bad because we don't even have television, but we have some of the streaming, and I don't watch TV, and then I watch like 4 episodes in a row and ignore everybody in my house. But try to have balance. Go for walks, get outside, get some vitamin D. I have a lot of things to say. Don't be so hard on yourself. I think that women we're hard on ourselves. Give yourself grace. Give yourself some grace. Full-time working moms, I'm a full-time working mom with 2 careers right now. And
which is so admirable.
Thank you. And I'm going through a separation, and I'm still smiling. Sometimes you don't have the best days, but if your days, most of them are better than not, then, you're going to be okay. So just also know that you're not alone in that. You're where you're at. I think if you just kind of know that, it's also very helpful. I find myself leaning into people all the time who I feel like can support me, even if it's just like a little conversation. Side note, I went to the gym this morning a little later, and I saw so many of my old gym friends who I haven't seen in so long. And it was so nice talking to them and catching up and like leaning into them and just like reconnecting. And so don't isolate yourself, surround yourself with people, because, community really helps and lifts you up. So I would say that would be a big one as well.
Well, that was some great tips. And on that note, community is so important. And that is exactly why I started the Next Chapter podcast, that many women have a support system, but they might be afraid to really lean in, or embarrassed, or have shame, or for whatever reason. So hopefully these conversations with the people that I interview can really help resonate with others, and that you can understand that you're not alone, that people are experiencing things that are similar, and hopefully that you can learn something from the other women in our Next Chapter community. So I appreciate your honesty, your vulnerability, and sharing all that you did today. And please be sure to tune in to additional episodes of the Next Chapter podcast. Thank you, Emily.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.